Good morning, friends. How are you today? I hope you're having a great start to the week. It's Trashcraft Tuesday day today, so I dreamt up this little project. It's not something I've attempted before, but it sounded like fun, and I thought, why not give it a go? So my plan for today is I think I will do the bases, get those done today. I don't think I'll get further than that, but we'll see. If we run out of time, then I'll do the decorating in another video. So trash, it's Trashcraft Tuesday. What are we working with? I've got a bunch of different bases here. These, I think, look like they've been torn out of the front of a book. So that I'm looking for things that are a little sturdier. I don't want thin paper for this because what I'm going to be putting on these is thin. You'll see in a moment. So I've got a couple of those, and then these, all of these came from my favourite junk shop, Creative Junk. These are like pieces from greeting cards that were misprinted or something, like they were all, there was a whole bunch of them that never made it out into the wide world as greeting cards. So like these are bits that have been cut off and discarded for whatever reason. There's a bit of damage here and there. So these ones with the text on, I will need to cover that over, and that will be the back of, and I guess journal cards is probably where I'm headed with this. So that will be the writing side of the journal card, and I'll cover it with writing paper because I need a basically clean surface on the other side for what we're going to be doing. These are a bit grubby. The grubbiness I don't mind so much. I think that will work. I just didn't want like this showing through. Not that it's offensive by any means. It could hamper how I then decorate it. So I don't want the writing. So something sturdier is what we're after. Could be a cereal box. I don't know, whatever. Could be cardstock. You could just use like regular cardstock or scraps of cardstock that you have lying around, or cardstock weight scrapbook paper would be another option, but I would make it single-sided. I guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, whatever you choose. Now, for the second part of this, the other bit of trash, is I'm using recycled tissue paper. And so you might get a feeling now this is thin, and that's why I don't want the words showing through, because anything on that base that you've got is going to show through the tissue paper. So this was sent to me by Lisa. It's tissue from a tissue wrapper from Toilet Tissue. So not the toilet tissue itself, but the wrapper from it. There's just a random scrap of red. I've got this pretty fruit design tissue paper. And I've got this one. I think this is the same type of thing as this one, just a different pattern and a slightly different tissue. It's got some leaves on it. This pink polka dot, I think I got this from Creative Junk, I believe, as well. This was also from Lisa. This really cool, I do believe it was from Lisa, black and white print tissue. This one I picked up at Creative Junk. It's Revlon branded tissue paper with pink hearts, peachy pink hearts. So there's a piece of that. And then this pink tissue paper. I'm sure I have way more than this, but I think this will be ample for what I'm going to do today. So what are we going to do, you might ask? Well, not the norm. Not normally how I would use tissue on something like a journal card. I don't know, is it a good idea? You be the judge, we shall see. Okay, so these have got like the score line where they were supposed to, turn into a greeting card. So I'm going to cut that off to start with. And that's going to leave us with, let's say 4 1/4 inches. I think that's going to be a good size for a greeting card. Goodness, for a journal card. You can tell by the sound of that it's, a heavier weight. but how long is this? Might be a little long. We might do one at that size. This one's got a bit of damage on it as well. 6 7/8 inches or 17.5 centimeters. I am going to leave one at that size. So let's cut this one down to the 4 4¼ wide. But this one let's make a bit smaller. Don't really want square, do I? Do we want to go 5? Let's go whatever this measurement is here. It's probably, it's roughly 5.5. So scrap there for something. It says from New Zealand with a part of an S. So that could be a fun little tag or cluster or something. Right. So how was your weekend, guys? I'm recording this on Monday, so for me, the weekend wasn't that long ago. So, how was your weekend? Was it a good one? I had quite a lovely weekend. Let's make a couple of smaller ones. Maybe 3¼ inches. That should be roughly in half. Let's go there. Arbitrary, but a couple of smaller journal cards. We went out for dinner on Saturday night to a friend's place, and that was really lovely. Just a barbecue. Had a good catch up because we hadn't actually seen them or caught up with them for a couple of months, I guess, and they only live in the next street, but they're busy people, you know, and life just happens, doesn't it? Well, we could do a 4-inch one. It's kind of getting close to, do we want to actually do a square one? We could do a square one. I don't typically do square journal cards, but why not? So we're going to do a square one, or I guess it's, I think I cut it square, and then that smaller one there. I'm just going to go ahead and cut these all, guys. We're not going to work on them all, I don't think. And maybe we'll leave another one at the full size, because that'd be a good one to go behind a belly band or something. Okay. Is that enough? Do we want to go ahead and do these as well? I might just work on the cream ones. Because how many have we got? We've got 2 big ones. I've got that one. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got 7 to work on. I think I'll be doing well if I get even half of those done, to be perfectly honest. Right, so we'll need some glue pages, a glue stick. I am going to partner it with tacky glue in places. Right, is my, oh, just big enough. Right, so what tissue do I want to start with? Let's start with a piece of this. I'm just going to tear it a bit off. And I'm not going to worry about hang-offs over the edge, because I will trim those off. My main focus is to cover the front, and I'm going to start that by taking the lid off my glue stick. Who knew it would be so difficult? So I'm just going to pop some glue down here. So working on this, the blank side. I'm also going to put a little bit of tacky glue just around the very edge to give a nice seal around the edge. I may even sew these. If we don't get to the decorating, then I'll sew off camera. Right, so I'm going to just lay it at the bottom to start with, and then I'm going to scrunch it and kind of try and make it not straight. I want it to have a bit of flow to it, I guess this might be the right term. And I want it nice and scrunched. You could probably do the same thing with napkin. I think tissue's probably a little bit more durable, slightly, than napkin, serviette, but if you don't have any tissue, go ahead and give it, oops, I just ripped it there. Right, okay, and get to a certain point and you can't move it anymore without tearing it because that glue is starting to dry. So can you see that texture that we've got going on? I love that. I think this idea is going to work. I do believe in it. I think we're going to be good. So what next? I'm kind of looking at some of these scrappier pieces that I've already used. So I can kind of just use them up or use as much of them as possible. Now I don't want that hard bit there because it doesn't match the rest of the pattern. So I'm just going to tear that off and throw that in the bin. Yes, I'm throwing it in the bin. Okay, so we need more glue. And I'm gluing along the top edge of that tissue that I've already put down as well. And a bit more up the sides here of the tacky glue. Right, and I'm starting with the torn edge down. Okay, just going to start bunching and try and keep some of that flow, so we've still got some up and down happening. Right, now let's get scrunching, and I might have to tear some off of this. And I'm really pressing all those folds and creases down because it does still need to go in a pocket or a tuck spot or something of that nature. So, and that's where I'm wondering whether this idea is going to work. You know, is it going to be a problem actually using these in a journal? I think as long as one's careful with how they put it in and out of the journal, I think it will be fine. Because it's texture, but it's flat texture. I'm just going to add a bit more glue in under the edge here. I think it dried before I could get the edge stuck down. Okay, so I'm going to tear some of this off now, and actually I want it a bit more. I want a bit more up and down. So first, before I tear, I'm going to add some more glue. Finish my sentence would be good. And now we're going to tear this remainder off. It doesn't matter if it tears wherever it tears, it's just going to add to that kind of organic feel. I'm trying to get some organic feel happening. Now I love the fact that this is cream because it's giving a colour in the background. Okay, I think probably 3 pieces on this one I think will be good, and this is the largest size, so interesting. Might use this red scrap on one of the smaller ones. Just looking at what colour I might like to finish off with. Let's go pink. And just put it down there because we don't need all of that. Okay, that's looking good. Let's glue up the rest of the card, and putting a bit on top of the last layer of tissue again, just so it overlaps and sticks together. It's going to help it all kind of lay down and not have kind of edges that are going to rip up. Well, that's my hope anyway. So a bit of tacky glue again, just to give that seal around the edge. You don't have to use the tacky glue or art glitter glue or PVA, whatever you normally would use. You don't have to use that. Right, so no. And these are different types of tissue, like different feels, different weights to them. So it doesn't really matter what you've got. Oops, drag that down a bit so it goes over top. tacky glue there, or do I want to just put a little bit of, when I said tacky glue then, just then, I meant do I want to glue stick it? But I thought it could be a bit tricky getting in there, so I'm just going to use tacky glue to get this edge down, because I didn't put my glue stick far enough over to get that edge stuck down. Okay, that's looking pretty cool. Pop that aside. Just going to go in here again just to seal that edge nicely, because some of it dried and some of it, like I've got extra folds and creases that don't have no glue under them. So just get that all nicely down. Bit of glue on my mat. Okay, so it's a little bumpy, which is exactly the look I was going for. Just trim it up and see what it looks like. So these bits, they've got glue on them. I'm just going to bin them. Like, I really don't need to be keeping them. This part I may keep because it's a large section and it's only got a little bit of glue. So we might keep that bit for something, I don't know. Yeah, so it was a lovely weekend. Going out on Saturday night was quite lovely. There was a point where I was like, oh, I wish we weren't going out, but it was really lovely. And the wee girl who, gosh, is she 6 yet? I don't know if she's 6 yet or whether she's still 5, but she was just non-stop giggling over my husband. Like, she just was so tickled by him. I don't know what set her off, but there was something about what my husband was doing that just really tickled her fancy, and it was so hilarious. It's quite contagious, her laugh, but she just couldn't stop. She was laughing and she was running around and being cute and funny and trying to get his attention, and yeah, so fun. It's fun as kids grow up and they begin to recognize you more. It's fun building upon that relationship, you know, because when they're little, they don't remember you from visit to visit. But now she's old enough that she remembers. So there's that familiarity, which is just quite delightful. She knows me better because her mum and I, you know, occasionally will go out for coffee, and often, or daughter used to be with us before she went to school, but now she's at school, so she doesn't join us anymore because she's at school and we're out having coffee. So just got a flap here I want to just glue down a little more. Whoops, and I've completely cut it at the opposite fold, so good choice to actually glue that down, because otherwise it would have gone west very quickly, I think. Okay, the rest I'm happy with. Can you see all that wonderful texture? I don't know whether that helps putting it. Can you see that? I just think that's so fun. And decorated up, I think it would be lovely with sewing around, but using a slightly longer stitch so that we don't like perforate the tissue into a tear line. That's something I would be careful with, but I think a bit of stitching around that would just really add to the effect. And then decorate it up, cover the back, and she's good. Right, let's do another one. I'm having fun. I hope this is something that will inspire you to do something similar. Right, okay, I'm going to try and see if I can do like different arrangements of tissue, like what effects can we create, what looks can we get out of it apart from varying colour. You know, what else can we play around with to get a different kind of look? Doing the same thing, so putting the tissue on and scrunching it. I didn't put the tacky glue on, did I? Oh well, I'll just have to go around at the end instead. I'm sure it will be fine. Right. Well, I hope it will be fine. It's a good test, isn't it? Okay. So while you've got the overhang, it's kind of a bit hard to see how the movement is. It kind of looks, well, I guess, a bit messy. Shall we use pink? I do like pink and red together. I think they go together well. I mean, pink is red with white in it, isn't it? So there's no reason why they shouldn't go together. So again, a bit of glue on that edge. And I've picked up some sort of shrapnel of something. It feels like a bit of shaved wood, actually. Weird. Okay, let's start at that overlap line. Put the glue. And so you get that double colour happening as well. I think I'll carry this right across to the corner on this edge. So I'm now testing to see whether we actually need the tacky glue around the edge. Thought, well, since I forgot to do it on that part, we might as well give it a little test run, see whether it's actually necessary or not, or whether it's just as easy to go in afterwards and add it in. Okay, so now I'm going to tear. It's a little bit tricky tearing along where the glue is because the glue's still wet, so your tissue moves a bit. So I'm using my finger just to guide it a little bit. Right, we'll just put those, that might need a little bit of glue under there. I don't like the flappy bits so much. Like, I like the texture of it, but I want them to sit, you know, sit nicely. Less potential for damage in a pocket. Now I'm thinking about this polka dot. The white with the polka dots might be nice as well here. This is a more fibrous tissue. Yeah, it's fuzzy. Like where I've torn it, it's quite fuzzy. So very fibrous, which is quite fun. Right, glue along that edge. Take it off my glue book, or it's going to start sticking to my glue book, my glue pages. I suspect this tissue that I'm working with now is probably a bit tougher because of those fibres, because it was certainly felt harder to rip to tear this piece off. So I think it's probably reasonably durable. Let's just preserve that bit. I don't want it to be flat right on the corner. I want it to have some, I'm actually going to put tacky glue there. I want it to have some texture right up to the corner, as much as possible. All right, a little bit under that flappy bit there, a little bit of glue, I mean. Okay, let's trim it up, see what we've got. Something's rattling on my desk. What is that? It's annoying. I think it's actually my pen holder, because I've taken a whole bunch of things out of my pen holder and got them over at the couch for when I'm putting my feet up, which means that whatever's left in the pen holder is actually rattling. And of course I got my scissors out of there as well. Right, so I've got a loose bit here. Oh, it's now really bugging me. Can you hear it or not? Hopefully it isn't bugging you. But I'm finding it very annoying. This little bit of tissue there came off when we trimmed it. Well, I've got to deal with it, guys. It's just really bugging me. I need to find something to put in it Let's try that. That's better. Yeah, just to stop the rattling. Just popped a tube of glue in there to hold everything against the edges. Cut from the back. It's a lot easier to see what you're doing. And you can't see what you're doing when you've got a whole bunch of stuff stuck to your scissors. Or at least I can't. I find that highly annoying as well. So it is a busy week this week. I've got extra duties at the food bank this week. We're trying to put together a spreadsheet. So most of Wednesday I'm going to be out. So could be some gaps in videos. I don't know. We'll see how I get on. We've been meaning to do it basically since I started working at the food bank. So like we've just got to bite the bullet and get it done. So yeah, I think that's so pretty. All that wonderful texture. It's harder to see, I think, on this one in the camera. I'm trying to see if you can see it. Certainly this and this, I think, show up okay in terms of texture. So fun. So fun. Okay, let's do another one. We're going, yeah, we've got heaps of time. I don't know, will we get to decorating? Don't know. I'm not going to pressure myself to do the decorating. We'll just see how we go. Right, how sticky is this getting? It is getting a bit sticky. So I'm going to swap out to a new page. Right, choose tissue first. I do recommend choosing your tissue before you glue, because your glue is going to start drying while you choose your tissue. Let's go with this bold print. I think this could be quite fun to do something bold. It's quite a thicker tissue. Oh, I love the sound. Right, I don't want this part appearing with the writing on it. I kind of like that though as a fun little piece. Talking about bamboo toilet paper. Don't think I've ever used bamboo toilet paper. Right, I think if we just go across there, that should be enough. It's got a little grubbiness on it, but that's fine. It's probably going to end up with more on it before the end of the day, or the end of its life. Right, let's do kind of a wedge shaped wedge shape. Right. Yeah, it's definitely much firmer, not as giving, I would say, like not as easily scrunched, but still got to work at it a little bit harder. You can still do it. I think this one I would want to do tacky glue around the edges. I think this one seems to be pretty good, although I just see there's a bit lifting there. You've got to watch the folds where it's all sort of creased up. Whoops, forgot to put the lid on my glue, so it's a little bit dried in the nozzle there. There we go, working again. It seems to be pretty good apart from the occasional fold area. So sorry, I've just switched back to do a little work on this one, because I realized I hadn't actually double checked it. That one I'm actually just going to trim off because it's stuck down on the bottom. Okay, it's all looking pretty good. Yeah, so you don't need the tacky glue. This one I think I will, just because it's a tougher paper. Okay, so I'm just going to go in here in between some of these folds. Yeah, it definitely needs some tacky glue along the bottom here. It's not stuck at all for probably a good ½ inch or so underneath. That's all right. That's what these lovely thin nozzles are for, so you can get into those little places and add some glue. Now you could just lay it down flat, but that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to create that fun texture because I thought it would be fun, and I'm right, it is fun. I thought you could also do this with the tissue paper hats from Christmas crackers or parties, birthday parties. I actually not sure where I put my Christmas hats. I've got a bunch more from Christmas just gone, and I don't know where I've put them. They're in a container somewhere behind me, but I cannot see it. So I thought, well, we'll just go with this tissue that was in my bag. Whoops. Getting glue everywhere here. Right. I mean, even if you just did something like that and then decorated the rest of it, that's kind of fun as well. Bearing in mind that because I'm using a cream cardstock, it's not white. I don't know if you can see the cream. If I compare it to the white, you might be able to see the difference. So you could just like put an element of the crinkled tissue. I might do that on one, but for this one I'm going to keep going. Right, so let's put glue on. I might go with 2 pieces of tissue this time instead of 3. And let's see how that turns out. I broke my own rule, didn't I? I didn't choose my tissue. Naughty. Just did not follow my own advice. Let's go back to this pink heart one. I was trying to think what will pair with that graphic black and white. I think this will be a nice contrast. Oops, I need to make sure I get that corner covered. And make sure it meets down the bottom. Oh, and not crinkle it too much that we actually need to add another 3rd bit of tissue. Whoops, we've got the brand name in there. Whoops, I just tore this. Got to be careful as that glue dries, it does start sticking down. I've kind of scrunched it so it's not so obvious, their brand name. It says, please recycle me here. Well, I'm recycling you into a piece of art, dear tissue. So thank you for your contribution. Yeah, this one needs a bit of glue under the fold. Right, I think we might need to go in with some tacky glue around the edges, but so this has got less texture than what I've given the rest, but that's okay too. We're playing with how many sort of different ways we can use this technique to get a varied look, varied texture. So this is the square one that I'm working on. Also going out on Friday, I'm going to meet up with Pam. So hi Pam, if you're watching this, looking forward to seeing you on Friday. And I'm going to visit my mum as well. So that will be a lovely day out. Lovely social day. Oops. Got a little bit at the bottom here that's not covered with tissue. I'm not going to, it's just a tiniest little bit. I'm not going to worry or fuss with it too much. because of that cream again, it's not like super obvious, because I only just noticed it, so obviously it wasn't like in your face uncovered, and it's just such a tiny little section. Right, need some glue under here, because this again, it's like ½ an inch here that's not stuck down at all up the side with this black and white tissue. Okay, so there's 2 different tissues on a square card, and I just think I want to put a little bit in under this fold here. So they do end up being still relatively flat, even though they're bumpy and textured. They're not like super bulky, which I like as well. It's a little bulkier down here with the thicker tissue, but not like super, and it's not heavy cardstock. Okay, we've done 3, my friends. 3, I don't think that's too bad so far. Let's do one of these little ones again. Let's pick out some tissue. So I'm thinking this has got some really cool blue, silver and green crowns on it. Silver are quite hard to see, but they are there. And I think I'll just probably lose the crowns in the scrunching, but they'll show, the colour will show through even if it's scrunched. So we're going to go that one. I think, do we want to do 2 again? 2 types of tissue. We haven't used the fruity one. Do we want the fruity one? Yeah, let's go fruity. Just got a section there with the leaves and a pear. So got the green. We've got some green on this. Yeah, let's see how that goes. Right, where do I want to start? I might start round this way, turn it round and kind of think vertical. The orientation that I use these in at the end of the day, I don't know until I've decorated. I might choose to see what it looks in different directions and excuse me, and just choose which one I like the most before I then decorate up with something. Right, so get right down in that corner. Oops, I'm sticking to the card now. Yep, this is a good scrunchy tissue. Scrunches up nicely. It's kind of a more waxy feel, this one as well. So it's got a bit of a shine to it. Oops, I can feel there's either I didn't get the glue here or it's dried. I'm kind of going. That was a cool sound, wasn't it? Sometimes I make the weirdest sounds, like I'm just, it's like, where did that come from? Like, why did I make that sound? Just weird random vocalizations come out sometimes. Okay, let's do the top half in the other tissue. Oops, got chunks of glue and getting caught in the creases. That's okay. I'm okay with that. So I'm working with the tissue sort of diagonally a little bit, not like straight. You may have noticed, maybe you didn't. Yep, you can definitely still see those crowns even when they're in the folds, and actually the silver ones are becoming more obvious than they are just on the tissue. That corner's being a pain, so I'm just going to use tacky glue there. section over here that's not covered. So again, this tissue's actually not wanting to stick that well with the glue stick in places. Maybe I just wasn't firm enough with my glue sticking. Or maybe there's a coating on the tissue that's just resisting the glue stick. I don't know. I'm just pondering. Right. Now I've also got like this frills kind of overlap happening that's not glued down. So I'm going to go in and remedy that with the tacky glue. May have a glue line there, but I'm not concerned actually. It's going to be fine, even if the glue shows. Right. So quite a contrast between the two types of tissue. It actually looks kind of fun. It looks like some sort of avant-garde dress or something. Half my life cleaning off my scissors. Are you the same? Can you work with stuff that's stuck on your scissors, or do you need to clean it off? I'm very much a clean it off person. Little fragments of tissue. Oh, I feel like I've got another corner here that's not stuck down properly. Oh, two corners actually. So we'll fix those up. Yep, look at that. Terrible gluing. And this corner was somewhere. That bit's lifting, but it's just a little crease. Folded bit. Glue that down. Yeah, this corner. It's not quite as bad. It's just like right in the corner there, just a little bit. It wasn't sticking. Apparently my corners are an issue today. Right, I just shifted those folds, so a little bit of extra hangover. And now you don't be put off by the amount of little tinkering bits I'm doing and gluing down. I am a perfectionist, and I try hard not to labor that too much on my videos. But things like that, I've just got to deal with it. I can't like let it go. I've just got to make sure everything's glued down and makes me happy. So if you think, oh, just that looks too much effort, too much hard work, too much fiddling around, that's just my personality. So there we go. I actually quite enjoy that contrast, and I think I might use it sideways, but I don't know. Right, we've got 4 done. Oops, flying them across the desk. I think I'm going to call it good at that. Give them a chance to dry, and then we'll do a little decorating video where we decorate them up to show you, you know, where to take these from here. I'll consider whether I sew them or not. I haven't grabbed my sewing machine out for probably at least a couple of months. Don't really know that I feel like grabbing it out. We'll see. I just think they are super fun. Super fun. I've got tissues there that I haven't used, and that's perfectly fine. There is one thing I wanted to do though. I guess it could come under the decorating. Colour. That might work on that one. So these are, I've got a bag of ribbons of various sizes and types and shapes and all that jazz that have come on presents that people have collected from me from their gifts, random bits and pieces. And I thought, how fun would it be to like sew a bit of ribbon across it? Like, can we get, I don't know why I turned it over, it makes no difference. Can we get texture in that? And like, oh, I think that is so pretty. My goodness, I love that. I would like to get a bit more kind of movement in. I'm not sure, but I'll play with that off camera if I can be bothered pulling out my sewing machine. If I don't, we'll just forget I ever mentioned the ribbon. It's an idea for you. At the very least, it's an idea for you. I did love that though, so I might have to pull out my sewing machine. I might just have to bite the bullet, make a space and pull it out and have a little sew. We'll see. So there we go, guys. That's Trash Craft Tuesday for this week, using scraps of whatever tissue. Try it with napkin. If you don't have tissue paper, try it with napkin. I think it will work fairly similar. And scraps of cardstock or scrapbook paper, whatever you've got, whatever you want to be as the base. I'll be backing mine. So if I do the ribbon, if I do put ribbon across here and sew it, then I will back it after I've done the sewing, because otherwise I'll have a sewing line across the middle. That's just my thoughts. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. Take care, my friends. Have a great week, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.